Blessed day to you all. Welcome to another segment of Trends and Truth. In Trends and Truth, we talk about life issues, and how people deal and tackle the challenges that come forth in their life. And today with me is a man who's learned to connect the dots in his life together and use it for the glory of God and live a fulfilling, joyful life. Let me welcome the man of the hour, Sean, to the segment. Hi, Sean.
Hi Manju, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for making the time to be here and talk with us. So we're calling today's segment Connecting the Dots. And knowing your story, just a little bit of it, I've heard that you're a jack of all trades. You've tried so many things out and you mastered so many things too. Yet, however, these little dots or little parts of your life were like a big puzzle that seemed to have fallen in place perfectly for you. And today you're living a fulfilling, wonderful life. And we'd love to know about this story and how it came about. So let's get started. How did life start for Sean?
Well, for me, life really was about disturbing the classroom. I actually didn't think that I had the skill set to fit any of those as well. I did study in science medium, but I just ended up disturbing the whole class. That's what it was like for me. And then when I left school, I was a bit stuck because I wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. So I didn't really pass all that well, even my O-levels and A-levels. And I had an ultimatum by my dad who said, by the time you're 18, 19, you can't stay in the house. You got to be out. You better find something, some place to work or some place to do something else, but you're not staying at home. That's what my dad said. So that was always in my mind as well. And I really didn't know what to do. So the easiest thing I thought, which would suit me, would be to be an air steward, to join an airline and be an air steward, travel the world maybe, because I did like traveling. But that wasn't meant to be, because I actually applied to a job because my dad saw this article and he told me to cut it out. I cut it out and I kept it in my pocket for about a week without applying. It was actually to be a news reporter at News First. And yeah, I didn't apply for it straight away, but then he kept asking me, did you apply to the job that I gave you the other day? I said, no. And then he made sure that I went and applied for it. So I thought, okay, I'm not going to lose anything. I probably won't get it because I don't have the skill set that is listed there. So I just sent it through. It was by post back in the day, so sent it by post and waited. I just forgot about it. And one day I just was called for an interview and I got the job, which was surprising because I never studied Sinhala, but part of the test was also to translate a Sinhala script into English. And I was struggling because I couldn't read a word of Sinhala. Like I could say, ma, it took ages for me to translate. I couldn't do it, but I was just so surprised that I got that job.
Wow. So, I mean, it's a little puzzling for me when you said that you were not the smartest in class and you didn't kind of achieve everything, because looking at you today, you seem so put together, you know what you're saying, the way you're talking and everything. So when you went into an industry like media, I mean, you had to be a reporter and talk, did you have every talent required even at that time, or how did it go for you?
In the media back then, I didn't feel like I had all the talents. For instance, the knowledge of language. I didn't have the understanding of the Sinhala language or even the Tamil language, but what I did have was I had age behind me, so I did learn. So I kept reading and reading, and I managed to get that skill. It wasn't I don't think it was a coincidence, because you can't really pick up a skill like learning languages like that.
Yeah.
But I was I didn't realize I had a good interviewing skill, maybe, to interview politicians or interview certain people. I didn't know that I really had that skill, but it turned out that I was good at it. That's something that was really surprising to me, because I didn't participate in any of the activities in school that involved speaking, public speaking, whether it came to drama or anything. I never participated in any of those things. So I really didn't see that. I actually thought of myself as a failure at the very beginning. But I slowly started to surprise myself. But I knew it wasn't just me. It wasn't the skill that was always in me. It was something that I was given. And that's what I always felt, because from failure to get a job like that was something amazing, because in 3 years I was an anchor. I was the TV anchor for news, and that's the achievement I wanted to achieve at that time. It was tough because as a journalist, a lot of the things that we had to do was to go out and interview people, speak, and this was during the war as well, so it was quite dangerous. And some of my articles used to be also controversial and all of that.
So you said it was a dangerous season. So during this time, you as a family man, father of 2 kids, how did your family handle you and doing media work like this? How was the balance for you?
So when I started off work, I was single, and that's actually where I met my future wife. She was on the radio. She was on Yes FM, and I was on the television network, but we were all working in the same environment, and that's where I met her. But then later on, when we started dating, I realized that I had to take a decision, because I was taking that relationship seriously, and I was also taking risks on the field, which could affect how my family life would be in future. Am I going to risk it for my career, or am I going to look for something else that will help me to have a strong family? So that's when I actually decided to leave the news and not take the risk. I'll leave the news, and I joined a company that does documentaries, which kind of gave you a bit more freedom to write things. Yeah, but it was still in the media. My wife, of course, she went and my future wife rather, she went and she did her studies, and then she came back. But she chose a different field after that.
Wow. And today, what are you doing, Sean?
Today, I'm a mix of different things. Right now, I do communications. So I would say I'm a communications specialist. Along the way, I did a lot of work in the media. I did a lot of work when I was studying, when I was doing my degree. I did teach as well. Despite being bad in the classroom, I eventually became a teacher as well, a tutor, and I used to teach maths and English in the UK, which was also amazing, because I didn't think I'd be able to teach anything at all to anybody. I also became a leadership trainer through an outbound company, and that was a pretty interesting moment, because a lot of people said, "What are you doing, Sean, with your life?" Especially my parents. They were like, "You're a media expert, and what are you doing jumping in the rivers and taking children on these on these rounds in the river and all that stuff? You're a family guy. You should stay at home with your family and not risk your life." So that was a very interesting moment in my life, because that also helped mold me into something different to what a normal communications person would be. Because I was actually teaching a lot of people about communication, about facing their fears. Because a lot of the things that held me back in the past were my fears. I had a serious fear of heights. I had a serious fear of speaking in public. Those were my 2 main fears. And during that role there, I was made to jump into waterfalls, which were like 120 feet high, jump into water, speak to people. Just when I was prompted, I just had to speak to people like that, without any planning or preparation. And so that was amazing, because it helped me to understand that you don't really overcome your fear, you just learn to manage it. And managing your fear will help you to overcome any task that comes your way. So I did communications, I did the media, I did leadership training, I did teaching, and here I am today. I'm a communications officer, and I do training and leadership training as well.
Absolutely amazing. What a story. So Sean, as our topic goes today, connecting the dots together. How did these dots connect together, and how did God fall into the equation of all of this?
Yeah, it's to a regular person, they'd see it as different dots. They wouldn't see it as a thing that can come together as one piece. They'd see it as, okay, you made a mistake in your career, you got to make amends for it later on. But I realized that throughout my careers, throughout my different jobs, there's never been an area that I haven't benefited from today. Whether it be, I even did a bit in advertising and PR, and that's also helped me in different segments of communication. So something that really changed was the fact that I was offered a job to go into the travel industry.
Okay.
And to many people, that job seemed like the dream job to anyone. All I had to do was go in a boat, in a sailboat, travel around the coast, and I get paid in US dollars. And that's just, it's basically a holiday, and you get your own credit card. 2 days of the week you work, 2 days of the week you stay at home. Now, who wouldn't want a job like that? And so I clearly said yes when I got that opportunity. I said yes. People came from abroad, interviewed me, I got the job. And there was this other job that was on the side. And what happened was, I had already applied for that simultaneously. So
Okay.
the interview came up, and my wife said, you might as well just go for it because they've called you in for an interview. So when I went in for that interview, I was confident anyway because I already had a job that I had accepted. So I went in just out of curiosity. I went and did the interview, and they seemed quite happy with me as well. And they wanted me to join, but later on I told them, no, this is what happened. I've accepted this other job, and I'm unable to take your offer, but thank you very much. About a week later, my wife was like, have you actually thought through this job? Because you'll be away for 2 weeks, and I'll have to deal with the family alone. And then I realized, that's going to be a bit of a problem. Traveling, school, all of those things with the kids. My wife was also in the travel industry. So being both of us working parents, there is no one really to look after the kids when I'm away. And so that would be a problem to her. It'll put a lot of pressure on her. So I had to decide. But what I thought was, I'll pray about it. That's, I think, the best decision I made, because I prayed about it, and I felt the Lord say, check with them. It's been 2 weeks. Check with them and see if they are still looking for a person to fill in that spot. And so what I did was, I told my wife, okay, listen, this is what the message I got was, call them again, and if it's still available, take it. So this is 2 weeks later. I called them, and the person on the other end of the line said, actually, Sean, we were actually thinking of calling you and asking you whether you'd reconsider.
Wow.
And that was amazing, because I eventually told the company that was going to employ me, no, I took on this job which is not in the travel industry. And if you look at the situation today, the travel industry has failed. Yet, as a family, we are still strong, because I still have a good, solid job, even though my wife may not have, a solid job in the travel industry. She, of course, has different skills, so she's doing different jobs. But the fact that I actually asked God for advice there really meant something.
It's amazing, right? When we take the time to ask the Lord for direction, when we take time to listen to what He has to say, that God leads us. And I hope today's segment is speaking to any one of you who are watching. And if you're in a stage in your life where you're wondering what choice you ought to make, when you're in doubt, take the time to fellowship with the Lord. Sit and listen. Maybe the Lord has a different message for you. His plans are greater than our plans, and He has far greater things for all of us, just like Sean shared today. Sean, in closing, I'd like to ask you, maybe there's a young person watching today, and they're in a stage in their life where career is actually a challenging one, when they're not sure what they should do next. How do they learn to trust God to connect the dots for them?
We can never be sure of what's in store. Like even the current situation, nobody could have imagined something like this could happen. But what you should know is that there's always someone looking out for you, who has always got a plan for you. But it's at the end of the day, it's in our hands. That God will know where we're supposed to be, but we should be able to tap into that and speak to Him and start communicating with Him. And so I think that's the thing that really started with me being a communicator. I also started communicating with God. And that's really essential. Tap in, speak to Him, and He will show you where you need to be.
Amen, amen. Thank you so much, Sean, for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you.
Your life story is inspiring.
you.
It makes us believe that there is so much more to come and that we should never limit the plans that God has for our lives.
Amen.
I hope, viewers, that today's segment has been truly enriching for you. Please join us next Tuesday at 8 p.m. sharp, where we will go live again, sharing another person's amazing life story. Let's do life together. Here at Bethany, we love you and we stand with you. God bless you and have a blessed, wonderful week.